Okay. Have you ever thought about killing yourself, even if it was just for a moment? What triggered such a consideration in that moment?
Yes. The answer is yes, multiple times. It started at a young age. I was probably about 13 the first time I can remember it, and it happened multiple times. And 13 is also the same age that I started drinking and drugging as well. And I can remember, and this, hopefully this doesn't get too graphic for anybody on here watching, but hey, this is real. This is, what you say, we're going to dig deep. We're going to get real. So buckle up. We're here in for a wild ride. You're going to really get to know me. I've never really shared this either on live. So this is cool. So yeah, so I can remember vividly being alone in the apartment that my mom and I lived in, and and being alone, right? Like just being so lonely that it was like, I just don't eat, like there's not even a purpose for me here, right? And so 13 years old, you guys, like that's so young and so much life left to live. And little did I know like what a purpose I really have. And I had taken because I didn't know what I was doing, right? I took the strap off of my duffel bag from a sleepover that I had gone to. And there was like a hook in the ceiling that you would hang a plant on. And, you know, I strapped it up to there. And I remember I was watching, you guys remember like when you come home from school, there was MTV music videos on. I can remember watching it. That was on the TV, stood on the coffee table and literally attempted. Wow. I hung it there. And one song was on the TV. And when I woke up, I was on the floor and another song was on the TV. So I don't know how long I was out for. The hook had fallen out of the ceiling. And so number one, like, yeah, like the Lord has placed me here for a reason. Wow. I have tried to take myself out of here and he stopped it, you know? And so, but that was one experience. There were times that I had taken whole bottles of ibuprofen pills, trying to overdose, was very, very sick. You know, and more recently in 2019, I had some fleeting thoughts as well. And so, you know, when I was younger, I had no idea anything about mental health. I had no idea about anything as far as like self-care, taking care of self. All I knew was that like I wanted to fit in. I wanted people to like me. I wanted, you know, and I was a chubby, nerdy kid. I was not the skinny popular girl, you know, but when I started using drugs and alcohol, I became very popular. And so that was like, I almost think that drugs and alcohol saved my life for a little while.
Oh, wow.
Because I was like so mentally ill, right? And so I started using drugs and alcohol, and I found this place that I fit in with people. They actually wanted to talk to me and hang out with me and whatever, because I had what they wanted, or, you know, whatever it was. So it gave me like an in to fit in for a little bit. And so it was just this mental turmoil, right? Where it was like, there is just no purpose for me here. And I didn't even know what that meant at the time. Like, I didn't even know what that meant. My mom was a single mom raising me on her own. She was very young when she had me. She was 15 when she had me, you know, and she did the best that she could, you know, but I was home alone a lot because she worked very strange schedules. And so I just felt so alone and like I had no purpose. So it started at a young age. And then when I got clean and sober, you know, it was like, my gosh, like this whole weight was lifted off of me. And again, I felt like I fit in because I found a sober community. And so that was huge for me, right? It always for me goes back to this connection piece.
Yeah.
Feeling connected to other human beings, right? And to God as a whole, like my creator. And so And he speaks to me in and through other people. And so having that connection with another human being is key for me. And so, yeah, that was a good one. I was so sick. Oh my gosh. That was, so I ended up feeling like I fit in again, right? And so I didn't have suicidal thoughts for a very long time. Again, I was connected to God. I found the spirit in me again, and I found this new found purpose that I could share my struggle and help another human being come from that dark place and give them a little bit of hope. And so that was amazing, right? And so I didn't have suicidal thoughts for a very long time. I will also mention, this is another piece of my story, is that when I was 15, my best friend died in a car accident. And so that also spiraled me out of control with the grief and not knowing how to handle it or deal with it or anything. And so after that, I did get put on some antidepressant medications, and I ended up taking myself off of them because I did not like being chemically dependent when I got sober. I took myself off completely. I do not recommend that. If anybody's listening, please seek guidance through your medical advisor. But I personally just completely cold turkeyed it. And so took myself off of them, didn't have to be on any kind of medication for a long time. In 2019, the man that I was dating, he died in a dirt bike accident. And so it was super tragic. And it totally threw me for a loop. Now, I had been sober. He died 4 days before my 4-year sobriety anniversary 2 years ago. And I didn't pick up a drink or a drug. However, what did come back, because drugs and alcohol have nothing left in it for me. They just don't. They don't bring the relief that I'm seeking when I'm feeling uncomfortable, restless, irritable, and discontented. They do not bring relief for me any longer. They cause more chaos and problem than they ever brought peace. And so it's just not an option for me anymore. However, for some reason, my sick brain sometimes will think that suicide does, right? Suicide has some kind of relief in it. And so when I was in this phase of complete, utter brokenness from losing the man who I thought that I was going to build a life with, the suicidal thoughts came fleeting in. And I was exhausted because I wasn't sleeping. I wasn't eating. I mean, I was in a place where, as a fitness instructor, I didn't even know how to work out. I didn't know how to shower. I didn't know how to do anything. And so because my body was so drained and my mind was so drained and my spirit was so drained, those fleeting thoughts started staying a little bit longer and a little bit longer. And so it was just simple things, right? Like I'd be driving down the road and there would be a tractor trailer coming the other way, or a semi, whatever you call them. I don't know. People call them different things all over the country. And I would say, oh, well, if I just cross the yellow line real quick, you know what I mean? And that's not like, I'm not like plotting my death. I'm not like writing letters. I'm not anything, but that is how simple it can be. Yeah. This mental health thing. Right. And so, there came a point that I ended up going to my doctor and talking to her and just telling her, and I had been afraid to tell her anything had happened. At this point, it was like 3 months after. And, I just let her know. And I did. I got put back on a small dose of the antidepressant medications, and I stayed on them for just under a year, as needed, right? Like I needed them during that time until my chemical imbalance was fixed again. And so, again, seek medical advice if you are feeling any type of way. If you have any tiny fleeting thoughts, share it with somebody who could potentially help you. It doesn't mean you have to have medication, but maybe someone can talk with you who's been through it before, because there is hope and there is help, and there's never a reason that you should take your own life. There is not ever a reason that you should take your own life. And so, yeah, so I was able to work through that. And like, it's incredible, because depending on where you're at in your life and what you've gone through, and it's HALT, hungry, angry, lonely, tired. If you're any of those 4 things, you're more susceptible to these wild thoughts, right? If I'm hungry, I am not the nicest person. So like I might be snappy. Who knows? I might be like, my gosh, I don't even want to be here anymore, which is crazy. That's crazy thoughts, right? Yeah. So, I mean, yes, I've had them. And I'm grateful that I have solutions today that are not drugs and alcohol, and that I don't have to act. I always talk about I'm responsible for my second thought and my first action, because my first thought can a lot of times be a crazy wonky one. So my second thought is like important, right? Because the first one might be like, drive over that yellow line.
Yeah.
The second thought might be, wait a minute, you have a 13-year-old child at home.
Yeah.
So my first action, if I take action on that first thought, like there's going to be a sad little boy at home.
Okay, wait. So say that again. That was so good. You're responsible for
my second thought and first action.
That is so good. Yeah, I freaking love that. And
that's why I have to use the pause, pray, and proceed, because if I act on my first thought, then I could really cause some harm and hurt to other people or myself.
That's so good. Yeah. And that's so true. And everybody can relate to that. You have a first thought that's not so good.
Not always. Sometimes my first thought is like, oh my gosh, I love her. That was my first thought of you. So you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's interesting. I love that. That's so good. All right. That works.